Hello and welcome to switchCast, our virtual concept to help keep the energy community connected. Switch is a fun, fast-paced, volunteer-run event for sharing ideas and innovations through informative talks. Our mission is to advance thought leadership and to motivate change for the responsible use of resources. switchCast was designed to keep the community engaged from the safety of our own homes. Presentations are in the Pecha Kucha style, where speakers have just 15 seconds per slide to inspire the audience with their topic. While we can't host in-person events at this time, we want you to know that Switch's passion and connection to the community has never been stronger. Thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoy switchCast.
Hi everyone, I want to transport you to a simpler time. Let's say January 2020, when you were still able to travel, and share a postcard from the Sunshine State, not Florida, but Queensland, Australia. The kind of place you want to send or receive a postcard from, with warm, sunny, white sandy beaches, coastal cities, the world's largest coral reef, and expansive outback. But I know I'm talking to a Colorado audience, so it's okay if you haven't heard of it before. So here are some fast facts. It's about twice the size of Texas, with a mix of beaches, rainforests, and dry arid lands. And it's very much a mining state, with 60% of the exports tied to coal, gas, or minerals. However, over a third of the households have rooftop solar PV, with 4 of the 5 top suburbs in Australia. For context, about 20% of Arizona households have rooftop solar. So how did the state get here? Well, in 2010, the state government introduced a lucrative solar feed-in tariff that was more than double the retail rate for electricity residents bought energy at in Queensland. The outcome has been that while Australia is generally a high-cost country for just about everything, residential solar PV costs just 70 cents a watt installed compared to $2.70 in the US. So it's a very cheap. And as a result, people have gone big, installing on average 1.5 times the typical size here in the US. And this has only continued to trend up over the past decade. But it hasn't been without its issues. The networks have seen that infamous duck curve get a really fat belly. In fact, on a typical spring days, most residential distribution feeders run backwards, causing voltage issues due to the network not being configured for this paradigm. Initially, the response of conventional wisdom within the utilities was to stick to the traditional solutions, which were expensive, slow, and really not able to scale for the sharp growth in solar Queensland was seeing. Fortunately, the rapid rise meant there was no hiding behind this old approach, and it was accepted somewhat quickly within the utilities that they needed a new set of tools in order to meet customer expectations and growing economic pressures the utilities faced. The first tool was to introduce standards that leverage the smarts within the solar inverters to manage voltage constraints. On those couple hours a year, it really mattered. This alone enabled quadrupling the amount of solar that could be connected without grid investment. Second, manually reviewing each of the thousands of applications received daily was impossible. The process and the technical studies had to be automated. This sounds obvious, but it was a huge shift in culture, but there was no other option. Thirdly, networks had to be reconfigured with boots on the ground. Transformers and regulators had to have settings adjusted, and the new devices like low voltage StatComs were piloted and adopted as cheaper solutions to traditional approaches the utilities had used in the past. And to send more accurate price signals and avoid mass cross-subsidization, a market-based feed-in tariff was adopted from 2014, which allowed customers to compare offers and pick the best rate within the competitive energy retail market in Australia. But it doesn't stop here. Really, things are just getting started. So where to next? Well, the share of generation from distributed sources like rooftop solar and batteries is going to triple over the next 15 years. And by 2035, 45% of Australia's electricity will come from distributed energy sources like rooftop solar, well above the rest of the world. And this is because the cost of solar and batteries are still falling, while grid power costs are still rising in Australia. In response, technical solutions have to become more dynamic in how they manage the curtailment and characteristics of the solar and battery power on the grid throughout the year, down to a second-by-second level. And the market in Australia is being transformed to connect these distributed household generators into their wholesale market in order to ensure the national power system is economically efficient, secure, and resilient for all. But as I mentioned, Queensland is a big and vast state, and solar plus batteries already present cheaper alternatives for supplying rural towns as opposed to hundreds of miles of power poles and copper wire. So utilities are tearing down the grid and replacing it with standalone systems. So when international air travel is a thing again, I encourage you to go check out Queensland and pick up a postcard of your own from the Sunshine State and support solar adoption here in the US. Thank you. I'm Don McPhail from Uplight.